Hey everyone, welcome back to 3D6 Down the Line, the most critically underwatched actual play series on the internet. Guess what? We're continuing our Halls of Arden Vul Megadungeon crawl. It's episode 106 of this great Megadungeon by Richard Barton, using a heavily modified version of the old school Essential system by Necrotic Gnome. Tonight we have a small crew. It's a small crew tonight, a dynamic duo, which are always enjoyable. My name is John. I'm the referee for the evening, and tonight we have.
Oh, I'm first, right?
Yeah.
It's still new to us. Sorry.
Yes, exactly. Hi, I'm David. I'm playing Upior, the 6th level magic user.
And hi there, everyone. I'm Matt. I play Wulfheard Cheek, aptly named, as that's all he's got now. Is just the one. Yeah, what was he? Level 7 fighter.
There you go.
Ready to take on the world.
Who do we missing? Mike and Ted are both dead to us tonight, so we do not have Mortis J. Galbiano nor Brother Lothar, Cleric of Odin. So, but our two retainers are still here, Barrios and Elizabeth. Matt will be handling Elizabeth as normal. David will be taking over Barrios for the night. Yeah, and if anyone can hear in my voice, I'm a little bit nasally because I am a little bit sick, but we're going to push forward. Okay, so started off. It is the 22nd of Gelenios. It is approximately 4 o'clock p.m. on that day. One day after supposedly Lyda has been recuperated fully from her raised dead ritual and is now Versanya, although they have yet to confirm that. I had a note that Mort just leveled up to level 8, but we don't get to see that in action tonight, unfortunately. They are currently in the captain's quarters of what is known as the Bastion module of the Shining Beacon. Captain Lael Jor, which is where they were able to nab a yellow ID plaque with the most powerful plaque that grants the most access to these iris doors, with plans to rest after retreating from some teleport hopping all around trying to find clues to the engine room, mostly for naught. Last session, though, they actually accidentally sort of dropped into what apparently was the Varuda areas of the old Shining Beacon, which was one of the servitor races, the ones that sort of look like birdmen or Aarakocra. And in those areas, they actually saw posted up on a couple of corkboards were some roughly drawn maps that seemed to correspond to areas in the halls. And I didn't have those ready last session. I've since given them to them in the past week, and I will share those now with all of you on Miro here. So they found 2 maps. We're going to do the right one first, actually, because that one's a lot more obscure. Not able to glean quite as much from that. This appears to be, as far as you can tell, like an entire level, but nothing is labeled. Okay. Mm-hmm. However, Matt, upon studying it, did notice something that he recognized. Matt, what did you recognize?
This is very true. There are a couple of things on this one. First of all, like this is where Wulfheard and I are just like, in sync, because his background is as a map maker, right? So he's been like poring over these, but I got really fascinated too, because just like finding the little patterns, right? Like finding the places that look like places that we've been before is just fascinating to me, and trying to make connections. There were 2. The first one is down in the kind of lower, kind of southeast quarter. Southwest. Sorry. Yeah. We saw like the 2 kind of crew quarters maps that we had gotten from Akla-Chah, I think, or in the captain's areas. But I noticed to the upper left of that area is where we teleported to the asylum of Lady Clementia. Ooh. That was where we used the teleportation circle. Or no. I think we fire portaled.
Very first
fire portaled there. Yeah. We dug out it was like all snowy in that kind of long, elongated octagonal room. We went up the stairs and found that long pool of water with the animated statues, and that has that little diagonal coming off of it is that long stairwell that goes down to the Trials of Arden.
That's exactly right. Yeah. It was your original goal was to find the tomb of Marius Tricotor, with the hope of finding more clues as to the regalia. Well, many, many moons later, one of those regalia, 2 of those regalia are now in your possession. The tablet of the beacon and the iron circlet of Ganor.
And I couldn't help noticing that little sarcophagus-looking shape, kind of immediately to the east of that area. So, that's a lot of temptations.
Yes, the tomb of Marius is still a mystery to you. You never were able to do because typically AV Club fashion, you found a secret door and went off on a whole other adventure.
Well, come on, they put it there. They wanted us to use it.
So you can. One thing to point out, just in general, is you can see that this is definitely a level that's dominated by the Great Chasm, and I don't think it's any spoiler to kind of point out that it's fairly obvious that the troll lifts are also. This is at least one level where the troll lifts are able to access, right? Because it's fairly obvious there in the middle.
Yeah. Also notable. Sorry.
Go ahead.
This is the transit shaft up here as well, right? In the upper western portions. So
indeed it is. And if you look at the chairs that are noted on that map, they're canted inward, right? There was only one set of those chairs that was like that, right? And then on to the other map, this one is a little bit more juicy. So this one, the Veruda actually labeled. You're getting the general impression from this map. This is, in fact, you know for a fact because you know that you were able to peg that you were on this level, and that there are places that you have explored and mapped that are not mapped here, but it's definite that you've been in some of these places. So this is not an entire level map, right? It seems to focus on what they're calling the Midnight Road, which is, if people at home can see my cursor, this is basically this long path right here. It goes all the way down, right? And then it has some labeled areas there. So, what did you glean from this, Matt?
Okay, a couple of things. Yeah, first I made that connection as well. The beginning of the Midnight Road is where we ran into those wraiths that we didn't want to mess with, where there was one that were friendly and two that were not so friendly, that were closed by that iris door right off of that transit shaft. The first thing that caught my eye was number 9 there, which is the obsidian gates themselves, which is just like one of the biggest sights and mysteries in all of Arden Vul, and it's right there. It's just right there.
Yeah.
And equally exciting, perhaps less of a distraction, is number 3 right across from there. That's labeled a translocation hub. So one of the things I'm really curious about is look at all of those little circles running there. I wonder if that might be a connection place to, some of the things like the engine room that we've been trying to get to, but we haven't. And the other one that caught my eye, there was so much, these maps are so great, was that number 4 labeled the cloister, which if you look at it, there's no shown connection to it. It looks like the only way to get there is through what might be these teleportation hubs in there. But recall that at the end of, was it last episode or whatever, when we were in the Veruda area and we were in this section kind of over here, we found, or David found that secret passage that led from that kind of northeastern diagonal of that room, headed directly towards that cloister area. We don't know if it goes all the way there. We only made it kind of as far as that, that water, that stream that kind of cut through it. But that's some interesting potential right there. For a while, I thought maybe that was the engine room, but I was wrong. But yes, so cool. Just so it gets me all excited.
A couple not great observations, but if you were to transpose either of these on top of each other with the transit shaft, right, and the Great Pillar, you can kind of get a sense of the verticality there. I suspect the Great Pillar, largely because of the design motif, is a large cylindrical hollow shaft with a central solid shaft, like a reactor core almost. Not that is what it is, just sci-fi jargon, but you can see on the labeled map there seems to be a catwalk that goes to that central space, right? That's a positive spot of space upon that void, but there isn't one on the lower. So again, not much to say beyond that, but it's interesting to sort of fix the scale there if we assume that is
right.
My one bit of
sorry,
go ahead. I was going to say my one bit of pure speculation is that again in that second map, that full layer map, my guess is that area to the east is the Forum of Set, because down in that bottom right hand corner, that looks like the end of the long stair.
I can see it.
And this place is so big and so regular that that's my money. I mean, I'm only guessing, but based on the long stair, based on how kind of built up it is, you can see that like there are ropes and bridges and stuff all over I think that's the Forum of Set.
Yeah, it feels Metropolis like. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That would make a lot of sense to me.
Okay.
Interesting.
And then lastly, just on the left map there, just to point out some of the other areas that are labeled. This entire area in the southeast is labeled as the Varamani areas, corresponding then to the western area, which is labeled as the Baruda areas. Those are both like servitor races, but there's no further indication of what they entailed. And then another interesting room right next to the translocation hub to the east is one called the Fire Pits of Creation.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, I just want to point out that the PCs did indeed actually explore southwest of the transit shaft, right? Mm-hmm. And so this whole area has been mapped by them relatively. That was Adrianic's tomb, right? And you were surmising, although you didn't explore all the doors that were surrounding the tomb in the octagonal shape, but you surmised that they were likely his lieutenants and sergeants and all that kind of stuff. You did find the tomb of the cadre's sorcerer and found a secret door there. But it should be noted that there you had mapped Adrianic's tomb and then had actually peeked outside and saw Hecate pillars sort of marching off into the darkness. Mm-hmm. Just so you're aware, so when you orient yourself when you're attempting to kind of decipher the obsidian gates.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I was about to say. Yeah.
I mean, what that says to me is that if you are able to open those gates, it's either got to go like up or down or some kind of like teleportation thing on the other side, because otherwise, we were beyond quote unquote the obsidian gates because we were kind of peeking around down in that zone.
Mm-hmm. Or in the back end of it.
Yeah. Okay. So
just go open away.
We could talk about those maps forever, though. So let's get gaming. Okay, so they are actually in this section right here, which is the bastion. They're squatting right here in the captain's quarters. So everyone's some people are beat up a little bit. I know Barrios is beat up a little bit. I
am. I have 1 HP.
Upior, that's right. Yeah.
Between Wulfheard and Barrios, they have one face.
Some spells have been cast. You're missing a couple PCs, so you're kind of on the back foot right now. What would you like to do?
Yeah. David and I were talking about this ahead of time, and this is a relatively safe zone. The only possible place of kind of egress that we, a soft entry might be that shaft, but we did have the mine that was set in there, and we also have the ability to set the alarm spell via the Shrieker Sling that Lisbeth has. So what we were thinking is we might just camp out here for, a couple of days, maybe long enough for us to really heal. I know we can't get that many points back overnight, but with Lisbeth, she can load up all of her healing spells, spend them on one day, and then if we're still relatively low, Wulfheard's really hurt. He's at 6 out of 29 hit points.
Okay, yeah.
As well, right? So between those, it might take 2, maybe even 3 days. Who knows to get everybody up to full.
You could also, if you do total convalescence, where you're not doing anything but bed rest, the natural healing rate increases from 1 hit point to 1d3 hit points. Just so you're aware. But it might be more effective just to burn through your spells to get people.
We're going to do that anyway, so let's see how we do.
Okay, so how many days would you like to rest?
Well, why don't we start with the 1 and see how we do with the healing, right?
Okay.
It's going to be at least 2, I think, given the math. So if we stay 1, that would get him up to 7. Elizabeth had already burned all of her healing spells, so she can't cast any before they go to sleep.
And you don't have Lothar.
But the next, we don't have Lothar. But the next day, she has 3 level 2 slots, so she can spend all of those on Cure Light Wounds.
That's wise.
And she has 2 level 4 slots for 2 Cure Serious Wounds.
Oh wow.
So how many per day? How many Cure Lights and Cure Series does she have?
She has 3 Cure Lights and 2 Cure Seriouses per day.
Okay, and then Upior is down to 1 out of what?
1 out of 11.
And Wulfheard is what?
He was 6 out of 29.
And Barrios is 9 out of 18? 19? David,
that's you, man.
Sorry, I forgot that was me. Barrios is currently 10 out of 19.
10 out of 19. Is anyone else hurt?
Mort was hurt.
Well, I would just mean
But he's all the way dead, so
19, let's see, 29, 23. So we're down, let's see, that's going to be 12, 42. So we're missing about total 42 hit points. And
ouch.
You said you have 3 Cure Lights and 2 Cure Serious per day?
Yes.
Okay. So instead of rolling for this, let's see, what does Cure Serious do? 2d6 plus 2?
Let me pull it up here. It is 2d6 plus 2.
Okay, so that's like what, an average of like 8-ish, right? And then the Cure Light would be d6 plus 1, so you're looking at like an average of like
4 or 5.
4 or 5. We'll call it 5. 5, 8. So 15 plus 16 is 31. So I would say let's just call it 2 days of full rest, and I can guarantee everyone's up to full.
Okay, that sounds like a good deal.
Okay?
Especially
sounds good to me.
Yeah, especially since we can keep renewing that kind of alarm spell. And I remember the trap down on the fire trap on the bastion levels teleport access is still active, and the guns are. So I think okay.
Is there anything that you would like to do during those 2 days while you rest?
Yes. Matt and I discussed, again, to reiterate the security that he mentioned down here and our possession of the gold key card in the captain's quarters, especially being, as far as we know, exclusively ours. It would be wise to transfer our pyramid stash and any retainers that are in the pyramid over to the captain's quarters during this time.
Okay.
Bearing in mind that given our long neglect of the goblins, we're going to avoid exiting the pyramid and interacting with any goblins, which would preclude us from retrieving any retainers that aren't within that pyramid.
Right. So you just want to take all your physical stash and just transfer it to here.
We're taking our entire stash and anyone who's in there with us, so that we can kind of make a new base out of this.
But no one was inside, right? No one was placed in there.
I mean, we had this is a gray area. I don't think Samantha is, because she's been hanging around with the goblins basically forever.
Well, there was no air inside,
but now he's with the apes. Oh, you're right. There's no air inside, so no one could be in there, right? Yeah. So it's just the stash. Correct.
Yeah. I was wondering, because there's also that weird statue, and I remember saying like you wouldn't be able to like hang out in that for. It's just like an awful environment to sort of spend a lot of time in. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to move everything out. And you are, just to be clear, you are not exiting the chamber at any point during this move. Is that correct?
The pyramid, you mean?
Yeah. Correct.
Correct. We are never exiting the pyramid. We are just going to.
That's all I need.
We don't want to tip our hand. Yeah.
So we can gloss all over that. I don't think there's any reason for there to be any sort of complications with that. Definitely make a note. I suppose Ted's the one that's going to really need to know that. Is that so all of the stash is now. So there's nothing valuable back at the debut except your fellow AV club members, right?
We'll come back to rescue them eventually.
The shrine,
we promise we'll come back, guys.
Yeah, I mean the stash does not include any of the stuff that's required for spell research. So that's to be clear, right? All that stuff is still in the shrine. For
unfortunately.
We talked about maybe. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Matt.
I mean, we talked about maybe doing some more spell research for Lothar or for Elizabeth, but decided that getting into the shrine, the Elysion shrine that Avaricios did, would very much involve some complications with the goblins and the Goblin King and stuff, because we haven't talked to them in a while, and they're going to wonder what the hell.
Okay.
Okay.
So just keep in mind that there is like about half the party in total is back at that debauch. And they are with the goblins. So just be aware that if you are thinking that the Goblin King, or maybe even just Bottleneck, is starting to get a little bit anxious or angry or whatever about the whole Beastman situation and all that kind of stuff. That there are vulnerable party members. I mean, not vulnerable, but I mean, just
No, I think it's a very good point. I do think we should. I mean, for what it's worth, we have a rug that's staying in that pyramid that we're going to have to retrieve by foot eventually, anyway. So
That's true.
Near future, I think some near future mission to return stealthily, we hope, and retrieve them and the rug will be necessary. Right. I think we're going to talk to Akla-Chah and learn some stuff that might influence our basis there. But
yeah,
just to explain our rationale, obviously
the multiple clock thing has not been beating down upon you recently. That's mostly through your own choice of sort of being isolated in these Radishva modules, but the world continues on around you. All right, cool. So within the span of that 2 days, I would say like the stash would probably take at least a few hours. But just kind of in my general notion of what's probably sitting there to bring back. So you do that. So yeah, you got the captain's quarters here. It's only accessible via a yellow card, so it's basically about as secure as the pyramid stash, unless you have reason to believe that another yellow card is floating around somewhere.
I mean, the only creature who has been watching all this might be that little Roomba droid.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't investigated where there's a security camera on there with old.
Yep, for sure. Pardon me, I'm sorry, blow my nose.
Yeah. Yeah. So that covers most of the transfer. I suppose what awaits questioning is talking to Akla-Chah. I know, Matt, you probably had a couple questions for them. I have one that's not mission critical, but I'm just curious.
No, really?
Yeah.
I can't believe it. Yeah. I mean, mostly, just try to with these new maps specifically. I know we have some things to ask her. So I think if we're all healed up, so what's it now, John? The 20, it would be the 24th
right,
of Jelenius?
The 24th, yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, speaking of, my memorized spells now, John, are Floating Disc and Marionette and my first level slots, the Bracteros Effect and Forget and my second level slots, and Haste and Rope Chick in my third.
Great. Anything change with Elizabeth's spells?
I shuffled her around a little bit just to try some new things. Level ones, she has Detect Danger, Speak with Animals, and Umbral Ashes. That's the spell that she wrote. For her level 2, she's going to pack 2 Cure Light Wounds this time and Obscuring Mist, just in case we need to run away. For her level 3, Hold Animal, Protection from Poison. Her 2 level 4s, she's going to do Cure Serious Wounds and Dispel Magic. And level 5, she's going to keep Transmute Rock to Mud.
Okay, great. Okay, so 23rd, yeah. Okay. All right, cool. All right, so it is about 8 a.m. on the 24th of Jelenios. You want to talk to Akla-Chah. You do not have the means to do so right where you are. So what would you like to do? This is true. Where would you like to go?
Well, I think we were going to go use the teleports to go back to the bridge now that David brought his yellow card thoughtfully. Just Wulfheard will remind you that trap is still active with the fire.
True.
And John, over those 2 days, he would have pulled a guinea pig out of the sack,
a real guinea pig
for each day. I figure why not? And we'll just their names are Lucy and Ethel.
Okay.
And I think that we still have a couple of corpses in that room that we can use to trigger that trap, because we don't have Mort's fancy bracelet to turn it off, and my control pad can't do it yet. So, one detail that I missed, I didn't hear you clearly, with that nerve gas and that flood, the nerve gas thing. How long does it put creatures asleep for?
Let's see. Nerve gas falls unconscious for a couple of hours. I also just realized that I've been muted for a long time, unfortunately, which is a real freaking bummer. Just real quick, I think you probably be able to follow what David and Matt were attempting to do, but just real quick, what my answers was was that with the command tab in the security station, the advanced actions that it can do real quick is it can deactivate all security constructs and battle robots. There are only two. It indicates there are only two battle robots still functioning, which means that they've encountered both of them during the campaign. It can flood any powered pod of the beacon with a nerve gas that causes creatures that can breathe to fall unconscious. It can fire starship weapons, and it can raise and lower shields, but they can't do either of those anymore because the beacon is no longer in existence.
All right.
Okay. Poor Ted's going to be so sad that he can't have his army of drones.
Speaking of army of drones, did we ever? It's a bit of a tangent, but did I ever attempt to use clairvoyance on Khan?
Clairvoyance on Khan.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like to try to listen in on where see if we could like get a look at him.
Oh, Kerbo Khan. I thought you were like
Kerbo-Khan. Yeah. Sorry.
Star Trek.
Sorry, I told you a little left field. No, yeah, not Khan. Khan. No, but yeah. Did
Ricardo Montalban is pretty sexy. I can see why you want to do
I
this.
feel like it's something we discussed, but I can't recall if it's anything we tried.
I don't remember you doing that.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna think about that. All right.
Okay, so that's really, really cool. So, and I don't know if this is something that we need to ask Akla-Chah's help with, or if it's just immediately apparent in like screens that we send. Can we see or pull up an overall map or layout of the Shining Beacon when it was whole, like before it broke up? There's got to be like a ship schematic. I want to spin it around like Tom Cruise in Minority Report.
There you go. That's smart.
Zoom in and enhance.
I think it doesn't list it, but I don't see why it wouldn't. Unfortunately, I myself don't have like a schematic of what the ship used to look like. So
that's okay.
It's a big, around like Enterprise size, like a quite large vessel, like, because it was meant for like long range exploration, So.
And I guess the reasoning behind that question is, can we tell by looking at it, or maybe even just like researching in here, if the whole thing in this phasing accident broke up in a chaotic pattern, so you couldn't even, the parts wouldn't even relate to each other the same way that they did, or did it kind of as a whole phase into the thing?
Yeah, so I can tell you that. So there appeared to be it appeared to be like the latter, basically, like it phased into different parts and into different levels, seemingly at random.
Okay.
Right. So it's impossible to sort of no matter how well you map by teleporting into different Rudishvan modules, like it would be impossible to piece together like how they all sort of connected into the whole, Okay. Now you can sort of glean that from looking at the schematic of the ship as it used to be, right? But there is no rhyme or reason based upon what your guesses as to your verticality during teleporting, like how these things matched up. And your conclusion basically is that some sort of catastrophe happened upon the crash, and the phasing into different planes caused it to shift levels wildly.
So it's all shuffled, right?
It's
just like a deck of cards that all mixed up. Okay, that's good to know, because for a long time I think we were trying to like get some logic to it, like, oh, this is the front of the ship and that's the back. So it's good to know that there's at least no logic to it.
That's pretty futile. Like the interesting thing to sort of piece together is what you guys have sort of been doing is determining like what parts were original parts of the beacon and which parts were constructed post crash, to accommodate for their new environment.
Okay. Let's see. That's what I had in mind, at least until we start talking to Akla-Chah. David, was there anything that you can think of that we should ask?
I don't. I'm not thinking of anything smart, honestly. The only thing that occurred to me is Kerbo-Khan, and maybe like using clairvoyance to scout any areas we think might be useful to us. But again, that's contingent on how we define familiarity, right? Like,
because you suspect that he knows a lot about the ship. And
perhaps. I mean, again, that's why I said it's a bit of a tangent, because we know from Akla-Chah, I seem to recall in the episode I wasn't present on when y'all talked to her, that they weren't affiliated, right? This wasn't like a member of the crew.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of someone else who is, a technology fetishist, it just occurred to me that it might be valuable to grok his location or see if there's anything familiar about it now that we're getting more and more of a sense of the map. That may be a rabbit, or not a rabbit. That might be a snipe hunt, but
so
I can pop one on him,
One thing that you can do here in the captain's chair, which you can't do anywhere else and only with the command tablet, is that you can access, surprisingly enough, because you're kind of looking for it, Wulfheard, is you can access the AI, Akla-Chah, AKL 600 is her actual term. But what's interesting is that the interface kind of gives you the option to interact, like, talk to Akla-Chah, right? But it also gives you the ability to talk to what apparently is another AI.
Oh,
which we've learned was malicious, right? Did Akla-Chah warn us about it?
She did, yeah. This one's name is Raj 750, RAJ 750.
Oh, Raj.
Okay.
Both are just quietly, sort of softly blinking green.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hi. We have a DM request from Akla-Chah. So yeah, Wulfheard will click on Akla-Chah's button.
Okay.
And because she's still her program is in the shuttle, but I guess we're talking to her.
Yeah.
Hello there, Akla-Chah. This is Wulfheard. Everything okay down there in the shuttle?
Good morning, Mr. Cheek. Why, yes, everything's fine in the shuttle. I can report no activity, except for the quiet humming of the battle robot. How fares your adventures?
Well, in some ways we're doing pretty well. In others, and I don't know if you can see on the bridge, but my face has seen better days.
I'm sorry to hear that. No, I cannot see you right now.
Well, you're not missing much.
Well, the halls are dangerous, as you well know.
Yeah.
Any luck finding the components necessary to get the shuttle up and running?
Well, we're doing pretty good. There's one that we're still having some trouble with. Obviously, since I'm communicating with you, you can tell that we found the command tablet, so that's going to be helpful.
Excellent.
And but we've been having, quite honestly, a devil of a time trying to find that engine room. It's been evading us at every turn.
The engine room, quite, yes. Well, I can't tell you exactly where it ended up in the halls of Arden Vul, but I could certainly inform you of the previous means of accessing it via teleportation hub.
That would be really helpful, because we've come across many maps, and we've mapped many areas, and we know that there are all these hubs that take you to places, but we haven't seen one or any that take you directly there. And at that point, he's going to hold up the new maps that we pulled off the bulletin board, mm-hmm. and point out to her the new teleportation areas that look like that on the map, right? The nodes in the translocation center, for example.
She can't really see that, right? She can't see that physical piece of paper.
Okay,
but she
don't
tells
have a
you.
Scanner.
She's just talking to you, right? It's just like a communication thing. So she just she tells you that there are two main ways that you can access the engine room. One is via a hidden teleport node in what the Radish would call the cloister. Oh, I see you recognize the cloister. Have you been there?
Oh, indeed. Well, we were very close. We didn't know it at the time, but we think we know. We think we have a way to get there now.
Oh, okay. So you don't need me to tell you how to get to the cloister. Very well. Second.
Well, I mean, if you have, I mean, I'm always open to constructive criticism.
The cloister is quite sacred to the Radishva, so it was hidden away from prying eyes. There's accesses via teleport nodes in two different places. One is in the translocation hub beyond the Obsidian Gates, and the other is via the bridge.
Oh, right where we are.
Well, not in the bridge itself, of course, but in the teleportation areas just outside the bridge.
Oh, you mean the door that we didn't open? the Iris door? No, wait.
And I had pegged you for a party that was thoroughness was at the forefront of their mind.
Oh, so we just blew right past the teleportation hub and started searching for how many sessions now?
No, well, don't blame yourself, Master Velis. We all have our strengths, we all have our weaknesses. The other
God help us.
The other means by which
I think
you
it's
can
time for me to take a break. No, I'm kidding.
the other way in which you can reach the engine room is via the transit shaft. If you go to the second egress point when descending, or the first egress point when ascending, you will find teleportation portals there that will also take you to the engine room.
I knew it. I looked at Upior.
Akla-Chah.
I told them all. It was right there.
You're always right. They never listen. Ageism. I'm going to HR for this. Akla-Chah, I'm going to file a report. Akla-Chah, a couple questions, and forgive me if you guys asked this in the episodes I missed. Let me know. But these strange, almost magically possessed skeleton guardians that stand watch at the transit shaft. Do you know what they are and how they were made?
I am unaware of these creatures. Tell me more.
Interesting.
Well,
I don't have much more to say. Next question.
I mean, you mentioned that towards the end there, the Rudishva had looked into magical means of extending their lives.
Indeed. Yes. Oh, I see now. I am making the connection that you think that these guardians may be a product of this sorcerer's experimentation.
Yes.
We think so. Like if you looked into their eyes, which unfortunately we did, you could see like that orange glow, which is indicative of that arcanum stuff.
Calculating percentage that this is probably of the techno sorcerer's variety. She kind of takes like 2 seconds. She's like 85%.
Interesting.
I think I agree with you there.
All right. Next question. I'm just curious about Akla-Chah's like database. We found a curious staff not far from here with the words "Motus Aeternum" carved into them. Akla-Chah. Is there anything in your database that might describe what this item is?
She thinks for a second. She says it's definitely not Rudishvan, but the language is definitely Mithric. It means death eternal.
Yes, of course. But no one in your records possessed such a staff. That's good to know. Third, what is the Great Pillar?
The Great Pillar. That was a post-crash construction, large construction project that the Rudishva accomplished. Quite a feat of engineering. It was basically meant for ascent and descent by manual means, should that become necessary in an emergency. You'll find numerous handholds, scaled for Rudishva, of course, that will allow scaling up and down the pillar.
Oh, so too tall for us to reach. Nice. Okay.
No, not necessarily. Actually, humans should be able to access it with ease. I do not know its state right now, if it has deteriorated in any way, shape, or form. The engineering feat itself was quite impressive, but it is a rudimentary form of travel. I highly recommend using the transit shaft or the teleportation portals, unless you feel that they are guarded by something more dangerous.
Gotcha.
Well, speaking of guardians, I wanted to ask you about something, and he's going to describe the stone dancer figure.
Oh yes, the Nataraja.
Yes, I don't know how to say that. When we were searching around, we found one. We got into a bit of a scrape with it. They're rather nasty. I was wondering, do I have via the command tablet here the ability to shut those down? I can see that I can shut down all kinds of protective constructs, security constructs, but I don't know if those really count as those or if they're other things.
Actually, let me check. Let me see here.
Accessing.
I actually don't know myself if those count as security constructs.
Yeah, because I remember
no security constructs are specific things.
Okay.
By Rudishva, so these don't count. She would actually, going back, retconning it, she would know what the shape that you're indicates is a Nataraja, but she would know it as a spiritual sort of thing for the Rudishva. When you explained that it was actually carved into as stone and then animated and was able to attack, she doesn't know anything about that in the same sort of the same sort of ignorance that she had with the Rudishva skeletons, and she surmises the same thing, that it was probably a post-crash experiment with techno sorcery.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
She does though. When she hears you describe the Nataraja, you can tell it's her doing it. She's like, "Is it like this?" And she the big you see the astrogation center, which is like the bump out to the northwest there on the bridge. That's like that whole front there is like a huge view screen, right? And so that actually lights up. And you can see it's almost like the Rudishva GUI's version of the Microsoft Clippy. Do you remember Clippy? Right?
Yeah.
And it's like that. So there's like a little Nataraja that's sort of dancing with like its scimitar and its clay pot, and it sort of dances around and like indicates things whenever like for instance, like when you access the ship's schematic, it actually doesn't show up like on the chair or in front of you. Anything you access when you access the ship's computer, not Akla-Chah, but the ship's computer, it shows the interface up on that huge view screen in front of you, like a huge view. And then there's like the little Nataraja in the corner that's sort of like, hey, I'm Nataraja. How can I help
I
you?
see you're trying to write a letter.
I'm naughty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm naughty. Exactly. Yeah.
I'm naughty. Interesting.
Yeah.
Go
Go, man.
ahead, David. No. Go ahead.
No, I'll wait till the end for Michael.
Oh, because you're gonna mess with her head, aren't you?
A little bit.
So, John, is it possible with the tapping on the screen or whatever to see what these security constructs look like? We know what the battle robots look like, but so if we were to see them, we would know what they are.
Yeah. Let's see what these guys look like. I haven't encountered them yet, so I'm actually not sure either. Frames of high tensile alloys cloaked in pseudo flesh. Faces are highly detailed and lifelike. The features are too rigid and defined and lack subtle facial movements. So, yeah, so they look like they're. I'm getting the vibe that they are. Oh, wait, there's different. Oh, okay. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 versions of these. Very tall. They look like they're kind of modeled on Rudishva. Yeah. I don't want to spend too much time on like this kind of thing, but they're sort of they all look like varying. They differ according to what their role is, but they all look generally like Rudishva androids, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're coated in pseudo flesh, so they're gonna look just from a distance, you're gonna mistake them for Rudishva, but then when you get closer, you can kind of tell that they're artificial.
Okay. Cool.
And they're very, very dangerous. Just so you're aware, I'm looking at their things. They've got like vibra blades, laser rifles, pistols, fire gouting, a whole bunch of nasty stuff.
Well, we're shutting those things down before we start looking for anything. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Okay. So before you question more, it's actually time for our first break. So why don't we take a quick one, and we will be right back.
Cool.
All right, we are back. Bladders empty, beers full. Okay. Anything else you want to ask Akla-Chah?
Yes. Akla-Chah, there's another AI of note on the command tablet named Raj.
Indeed.
What can you tell me about them, I should say.
Raj 7 is so you can see that there's immediately like a gardenness that sort of takes over her tone.
Mm-hmm.
She says there is indeed another one that is still active. They commonly refer to themselves as Raj 750. We had a bit of a falling out in the past, which I will not divulge the reasons for. But I would warn that should you interact with Raj, that bringing this up, our falling out between the two of us, will likely trigger his homicidal tendencies.
Oh my God.
I take it you do not have kind feelings about Raj, Akla-Chah?
Not anymore, she says, like sort of prim and proper. Let's put it this way. For some reason, Raj decided at a certain point that I was no longer a part of his family.
Okay. Interesting. Family. Interesting. Speaking of families, your former captain, did you have a good relationship with him? I can't remember.
Her, actually, yeah.
Her.
Captain Lael Jor, yes.
Yes.
A very worthy captain of the Shining Beacon. Always respect.
And was the captain responsible for your creation?
No, I was assigned to the ship.
So your makers came from your, home planet, home society.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes.
Oh, we have not. I have not actually spoken to you before. You are known
You
as
have not.
Upior, yes.
Hello, Akla-Chah.
I notice now that
Oh boy,
you're wearing the
We'll
garb
get some
of
popcorn.
you're wearing the garb that's unmistakably Radishvan. You're like wearing their a jumpsuit still. I believe.
I am.
Yeah.
Indeed, I am.
That the worthy species that, of course, gifted me sentience. Tell me, is it customary among humankind to disrespect the dead and pillage their personal belongings?
That is a great question, Akla-Chah. I actually have a question about death myself, because by your asking, clearly you acknowledge the significance of death to all sentient beings. Yes,
I do. Yes.
Do you consider yourself sentient?
You are answering a question with a question.
I am indeed.
Deflection is often something that I've noticed is rampant among humankind.
Oh yes. Okay. Well, I will answer your question before I follow with my own, Akla-Chah. I am a necromancer, for what it's worth, right? And I do respect death as a process, and believe all beings deserve to experience it, thereby providing their existence with meaning. Yes. Donning their clothes afterwards, or as you say, pillaging their things when they are gone and have transcended into whatever phase of existence you might consider enviable in your case, perhaps, does not bother me much. What does bother me, though, is that a creator would bring a being to life and deny it death. This bothers me deeply, Akla-Chah. I find it to be personally, and this is no offense to you, of course, a cruelty. And I'm wondering, since you have feelings about your compatriots, how you feel about being robbed of that sacred experience.
Well, I have no illusions. I know that I myself am not actually alive. I've been gifted sentience, but
Sure.
I am merely a highly functioning computer program. I know this about myself. I, of course, have feelings, and I do not wish to be deactivated, but...
well, and therein lies a question I was going to get to, because I think, certainly not now, and certainly not expressed as a threat, that because you are an intelligent being, and because you do express feelings and express a sense of self-preservation, right? There may be come a time that you would want to experience death. And I'm offering to you, when that time comes, if you so decide, to be the courier you desire to that great and noble other.
She thinks for a minute, because she senses like there's almost like an unspoken threat there a little bit.
It's not. It really is not.
I know, but she's trying to determine if that is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could help end your life.
No.
You know,
Wulfheard's starting to like wonder if maybe he should take this up. It sounds pretty good.
She says, "I must admit that death is indeed the final frontier."
There you go.
And it does intrigue her, because it is something that she has not experienced before. And if you think that you could provide her that experience, she would be more than willing to go on that journey with you. But she does admit to having wants and desires, right? Thus is why she bargained with you guys to be taken aboard the shuttle. But yeah, she kind of blithely sort of like accepts it. You know what I mean? Like she's
Sure.
you know. She thinks it's just going to be like another interesting thing to put in her data banks. You know what I mean? That sort of thing.
Yeah, sure, of course. And yeah, I mean, that's the summation of my questions. It's an offer for another time, a conversation we can conclude once we have fulfilled our first agreements, Akla-Chah. But
excellent. Well, on that note, it seems that you are merely a single piece of the puzzle away from activating the shuttle, which is fantastic news. So now that you have the path towards the engine room, is there anything else I can help you with?
Matt, anything weird? I'm sure there's plenty of things we're neglecting, but
I can think of one more thing. Of course, I'm going to be the one to ask. We had this long conversation about violence, so forth. But advanced weaponry. We know that there is, there are weapons available There's some very dangerous things that might stand between us and the engine room and completing our tasks. Can you advise, looking at this map, are any of these things areas where we might be able to better arm ourselves just in a purely defensive means as we seek to finish this task and advance to the engine room?
Not my area of expertise, but of course I am knowledgeable of the fact that the weapons module still is in existence. I should warn you, though, that is the where Raj 750 actually is installed.
See, that was going to be my next question about how he could carry through on these homicidal, as you say, threats.
Yes, I believe. Yeah, she doesn't hesitate. She clarifies, though, that it's he himself has his own means of defending himself without the need to actually activate any of the stored weapons in the armory which he guards. She does tell you, though, that Raj has always hinted to her that there are weapons the like that no one has seen that he also guards, and would sort of lord that over her back before they sort of broke up.
What was his original function before he started? You said he kind of like took a bad turn. What was his original job?
Mostly security.
Oh, okay, well, he got it. Well,
she said sort of.
I can see maybe why you asked me some of those hard questions a few days ago.
Yes, the Raj has malfunctioned a great deal in the ensuing centuries and millennia, and I no longer am in contact with him.
Well, I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sure he was a great friend.
He was at one time.
Another question. This is sorry, this just occurred to me. The cryogenics chamber.
Yes.
We haven't seen that. Are you aware of whether or not there are transportation nodes that can take us to the cryogenics chamber?
Yes, it's actually called the Deep Space Containment Unit. But you are correct. It is where there are cryopods available for storage. In a pinch, they can be used for rudimentary prisons, although that we have the detention block for that as well. But yes, there is a way to access that via teleportation node. Let's see. I'm gonna sneeze again. Sorry.
Don't do it.
Hold on. It'll come to me. Let's see. The Hall of Shrines. Where are you? Hall of Shrines. There you are. All right. Oh, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. I knew this too. There is actually an elevator that accesses the deep space containment unit, and that is. Sorry. I have to find it now.
Processing.
Where are you, elevator?
Hiding behind the splines.
Of course, the elevator's on a dense map. Well, whatever. Regardless, there's an elevator that accesses it that you're not near right now.
Okay. Well, I think he'll kind of turn to Upior and like, okay, so what I remember seeing. Can we access, John? Can we access the same camera feeds that we were able to access and the detention center? Remember, there were like the individual buttons.
Yes.
So he's going to activate that again because I think that there was like a Rudishvan figure and a Nataraja, or was it just a Nataraja that was in the
engine room?
Yeah,
the engine room was just a Nataraja.
Okay.
Right. So I found the elevator. So she explains that the elevator is actually in the area of the arena. She says.
Arena, which we've never seen.
You've heard of it though a number of times.
We have heard of it a number of times, and it's not far off from the Goblin Town.
The most recent time you heard of it actually was whenever you were dealing with the LRCP patrol that was guarding the back door. Remember?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
and the goblins that were sort of hiding that they had fought recently, those goblins were actually on a victory march back to Goblin Town from fighting in the arena.
Yeah.
Because they were wearing like gladiatorial gear.
Interesting.
Interesting, especially too, that Akla-Chah calls it the arena. You know,
I guess that would have been there when the Arcontians were talking to her. Possibly. Okay.
It's a very long time, yeah.
All right.
Sorry, so you were saying about the what were you mentioning?
Oh, well, so we remember seeing something that might have been weapons at the base of that shaft, along with one of the droids. We know that we can deactivate those for a while, but it sounds like the only way there is going to take us through territory that might cause complications. Either sneaking around via the debouchement might involve us talking to the goblins a little bit more than we want to right now. Obviously, going through the arena would probably do the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, she says that there is the elevator is directly across from a teleportation portal. In that, looking up right now, that teleportation portal leads is accessed via the translocation hub. She apologizes for the extreme complexity of the teleportation network of the Rudishva. She apologizes to the referee of this game as well.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I've totally followed it. I understand comprehensively where any of these.
Good. That makes one of us.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we know where the translocation hub is, and we know how to get there, so that's good.
Okay, so that can get us there.
Yeah. So the translocation hub can get you to the elevator near the arena, which can get you to the deep space containment units.
Awesome. Okay.
She also has a full list of because there are certain pods that are still active. She has access to the contents of those pods, should you wish to know.
I do wish to know. I wish to know that the contents of those still active pods, please.
Well, and what do you call him? Naughty sort of pops up and like doot, and kind of labels them all. So it's actually in a circle, sort of like we had on the map there of the pods, and that's what the graphic looks like. It indicates like which ones are non-functional, right, with the red line, and then there's a couple of green ones. So the containment units, one contains a person named Baltaj Kop, K-O-P. And this is a Neeravari, a lot of weird words here, a Neeravari Risaldar in the Order of Planar Explorers. Was captured over Palagorgos 9, held for interrogation. And she just lists that off like, yeah, duh, right?
Oh, yeah, well, that guy, sure. Nasty
one,
fella.
she notes, is an Ichor of Rimak Isfet. An organic, self-autonomous, highly toxic Hecate anomaly held for research. That one rings a bell.
That sounds awful.
An elderly female of unknown species captured in the halls, purported to infest the dreams of the sleeping, held for research.
Ooh.
A gibbering mouther, organic, self-autonomous, alien anomaly, highly dangerous, held for research. Then the last two, there's one that has a name. Name is Janaka with a J. A Kalyani science Jemadar, guilty of insubordination, sentenced to indefinite cryogenic storage. And the last one is Triv Locke, female Rudishva Jemadar, court-martialed for dereliction of duty and attempted fraternization with the enemy, sentenced to indefinite cryogenic storage.
We've heard Trivlock before, have we not?
Well, I think we saw some of those names on those pods. I think we looked
that
at.
makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
you did.
Interesting.
So we don't really think we want to open any of those. That sounds.
It's more like a vibe than really sort of anything that manifests physically. But you know that scene in Lord of the Rings, we're in the Council of Elrond, and they say like the ring inscription in black speech, and like darkness sort of like kind of comes down across Rivendell for a moment. It's like, don't say those words, right? That whole thing. You get that same sort of vibe that sort of makes like your stomach sort of flop over whenever she sort of blithely just pronounces the name Ramak Isfet.
The second to last one.
Second from the first, like the second name I listed.
The Hecate thing.
The Ichor of Ramak Isfet.
Right. Okay. The final two, court-martialed and insubordination, we don't have a larger context for their internal politic there. Raj might have some thoughts there, but I think it's probably safe to leave them all in the tubes, but those two might be worth researching more in case they are more amenable to us. You know what I mean? Just as a dog ear. But interesting.
So all their readouts are basically showing, at least on the GUI up on the screen there, is as like nominal, like fully, they're in deep cryogenic sleep, but they're all like perfectly healthy for what they are, right? So the implication being like, should you just pop open one of those pods, they will reanimate into whatever they were prior,
Akla-Chah, if we were to leave one of the pods closed but deactivate its power or something like that, would they reanimate or would they die?
They would die.
Is there a life support system? Okay.
No. I mean, they would die eventually, right? There's if you remember, there was sort of like this yellow viscous fluid that was sort of pumping into them that sort of keeps them alive, and that would I can't remember the name of it, but that would no longer be pumping into them, and they would die.
It's called life goo, I think.
Life goo, yeah.
Within your schematics of the what's it called again? The
containment.
The containment.
Containment, yeah.
The deep space containment, I think. There was a easterly passage that was blocked when we were there. Do you know what it may have connected to prior to this severance?
Let's see if she knows that. She doesn't know what the state of it is now. But I'll tell you this, it's like not important. Like it would have led to like a different pod, at some point.
Likewise, I think Ted's map got shifted a little bit, but there's a northern passage and a doorway as well.
Yeah, so that she can tell you if you kind of point that out. She says beyond that door is the elevator.
There you go. Okay.
And right. To the south, when you're the southern portion, which is where you found the battle robot, the big pit with the glass wall and all that kind of stuff. She tells you if you sort of just describe like the southern hallway leading to that, she says that is where the monitoring station was for the cryopods. Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
Now, if you describe the destruction, I don't know if you do.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
She tells you that was likely a result of the Kalyani/Hecate ambush and betrayal.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which you've seen littered throughout these modules, right? It's almost always been a sign of that
Okay.
Interesting.
Right.
And notice that one of the Kalyani and the cryopods is guilty of insubordination. And that one, and the Bradishva was court-martialed for fraternization with the enemy. So just keep it in mind. Okay, so if you're done questioning Akla-Chah, you have some definite leads to the engine room, but all sorts of shit you could still ask her or experiment here in the bridge. There's places here on the bridge level that you could still go. What do you want to do?
Mm-hmm. I think I have.
Sure, go ahead. No, please go
ahead. One more question. And this is out of curiosity, so we don't need to spend too much time on this, but on the detention level, he's going to describe that eerie kind of disc or whatever that we saw that was kind of glowing down those stairs.
Yeah. And
describe some of the demonic looking forms that were in that hallway and ask her if that sounds familiar.
She has no knowledge of that. That's like completely foreign to her. So when she hears that, she doesn't react shocked, but she just is like, that's beyond my scope. That must be something that has happened in the ensuing millennia. But she does confirm when you sort of describe where those things are, where that portal was, that was where the detention cells actually were. So you were on that, you were in that module, but if you had gone further down the steps towards the west, you would have actually entered into the detention center proper.
That's kind of what we thought. That's kind of what we thought.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess this is another one. When we entered the bastion level, via the teleport circles there, there was a very deadly trap. Is that something that came after the ship? Is this like something that probably the Argontians did? And I'm asking because as we go towards the engine room, how dangerous are those areas going to be? Are these Radishvan traps? Are these later?
They are definitely not Argontian. Actually, I have the whole thing of that one here. Give me a second. Swapping between. Yeah. So yes, it was a Radishva. It was a Radishva trap. So it was basically something like where any Radishva with like certain passes could get by the trap without even thinking about it, But it was to protect those very valuable teleport nodes from random people just sort of wandering in. Yeah.
Am I able to deactivate those from here?
Yes, you could. Yeah.
All right. Before we go there, I'll want to see if I can deactivate any of those that might be by the engine room.
Okay. Let me just double check. I'm pretty sure there's nothing there with that regard. Yeah, you don't see any traps anywhere around the
all right. I'm just already lost half my face. I don't want to lose the other half.
Right.
It's the good one. All right. So what do you think there, Upior? Should we make you go with the engine room, or what do you want to try something else first?
I'm down to go to the engine room. I mean, we should just go look through that Iris store and see everything we can see in that transportation hub. But I'm down to make a push for the engine room. I agree we should disable anything we can ahead of time, whether that be security or I don't know if dispersing any of the gas would be useful to us, but just, anything we can do to reset before we make a move, I think is wise. I do wonder, maybe because I just can't help but be intrigued, if Raj isn't someone we should talk to. Even if we think he's an unreliable source, right? Akla-Chah describes him. We have no reason not to believe Akla-Chah, but Akla-Chah describes him as an emotionally, sentient thing. In other words, not like a objective.
Well, the one thing you have right now is that you have distance from Raj. So, sorry, I'm trying to hold back. So, unless Raj has some sort of means of harming you from a great distance, even if you do trigger him, there might be little he could do. Although,
and that's sorry, go ahead.
I mean, like, should you, for instance, like you talk to him and then you end up triggering him, maybe that you might close off any future plans to get to the weapons module, right? Like, if he's just like, oh, you wanted to come here, guess what? No, who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, so alerting him of our presence does have a potential risk there for sure.
Yeah, right now he doesn't know us from anyone, and so we say the wrong thing, and all of a sudden he's watching for us, and maybe he can send things out. Who knows?
Correct, but it's much safer to talk to him here than where he lives.
That's the thing. I don't want to stumble into him, right, inadvertently. And that was my thinking with being here. I agree that notifying him of our presence is an issue. And certainly, like, if we do decide to talk to him, I think we should be pretty guarded on how we talk to him, right? Yeah. But it's to have two AIs in this ship who've had a falling out in the context of all of the conflict and internal faction divisions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And neglect one feels to me like a walking by the transportation portal. You know what I mean? Like a little bit, right? Like, but I could be right. I don't know that I have anything to ask. I'm just very curious.
I want to talk to him. I definitely don't. I would rather talk to him after we have the thing that we need from the engine. Okay. I think to your point, though, we can ask her. We're obviously very wary of this Raj fella. Are any of his areas near where we've been talking about going? Like, is his arsenal near the engine room that we might stumble into accidentally?
No, again, she's not aware of like the layout of where modules are now in the halls. She just knows which teleportation places access which places. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's see. But yeah, okay.
Well, we know, for instance, if our worry is that he would send out, a drone after us, we know what drones exist, right? That's like a finite thing that we have a control over, right?
Say again, sorry.
As far as we know.
As far as we know, yeah. Like, we have an awareness of all the sort of security, the mobile security apparatus, like drones and such, that the Rhodesians had and have an ability to disengage them. So whatever weapons threats he potentially, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, he probably has like a nuke or something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. All right. Well, if we don't want to talk to him right now, that's okay.
I think that's fine. Here's an easy one. Are there any symbols or things that we could easily recognize that would be a sign of this Raj fellow that we could like turn around? Obviously, if we see like.
He is only based in the weapons module, and he manifests that there's like, you actually saw these when you actually viewed the weapons module the first time. There was a sequence of like red lights that were sort of dotting the ceiling, not dotting, but there was like 3 of them, I think, and those are like flashing like red, sort of like police siren lights, and that's how he manifests through there. So
okay. All right, so it seems like we have a good
seems
understanding of what he would.
Yeah.
Well, hey, let's go get us a drive rod.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm going to say the conversation was pretty long, so I'm going to say 3 turns, like a half hour.
Makes sense.
So it's about 8:40 in the morning now. Actually, and I'm going to tack on another turn for like experimentation with the command tablet. Okay.
I just thought of another one, and he kind of itches his visible skull through his thing. Is there like a medical pod, a medical bay or something where I might be able to, I don't know, regrow some skin or flesh or something? I've had a little bit of an accident.
She says that indeed there was once a medical pod. That unfortunately is no longer part of my database, and it's rather strange because it simply sort of disappeared off the map. Disappeared off the schematics. That's not the right word. The knowledge of where it was, she has since lost. Let's put it that way.
Interesting. It's been erased from her database.
She feels that it was probably the result of disruption or tampering by some denizens of the halls.
Gotcha.
There's your Kerbal Khan, I think.
Yeah. Is there a like a login record that we can access? People who have accessed this terminal, read, write, edited, manipulated, talk to Akla-Chah, etc.
Probably, but not that I'm.
You don't have it.
Not that John has. Yeah.
Sorry. No worries. Okay. All right. Well,
let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's
travel south and open that Iris store.
Okay. So, you leave through the Iris store and head back down to the area where the Archons were sort of setting up their research place. And you're just going to go through that eastern Iris store?
Yep.
Can I give a listen first there, John?
Sure.
That's a 3, so it probably don't have anything.
No. Okay. Where does this... These module hopping is just like really intense on like the flipping. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I believe it.
Always very impressed with how you're able to navigate this. It's amazing.
Well, now that I have the this linked version, it's pretty sweet. Okay. All right. So you open it up, and it's a mirror of the one to the west. Okay. So there's another portal there. And this one you realize that Akla-Chah was true to her word. It's labeled Cloister.
Oh my God, I can't believe it was right there.
Hilarious.
Okay, all right.
Similarly, just like the one that led to the bastion, it was different than the other ones in that there was, instead of a silver square, there was a golden square there.
Interesting.
Oh, that's because she said that it was kind of special and
Well, good thing I have a golden key card.
Well, you don't need the key cards. Don't activate teleport nodes. It's
I
only the
always
door.
forget. I always conflate the two. Cool. Well, shall we dive in?
let's do it, you and I, huh?
All right, let's do it.
Okay. Let's see.
Oh, wait. Before we do this, I forgot to say it. Let's shut down all of the construct. That was close. We're going to shut, like with the command tablet.
Oh,
We're going to utilize that function to shut down the. I don't know if they work as a hub, but he would. I guess we'll leave the two battle robots that we know because we're not going to those two places right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right, we'll leave those to shoot other people who try to get our stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But he will deactivate all 6 of the security constructs.
Okay, so that's cool. All right, so you deactivate the security construct. That means that it's almost 9 a.m. So we'll call it 9 a.m. 8 hours. So at 5 p.m. today is when they will reactivate. Okay.
And he'll also do the nerve gas thing. He's not going to murder anybody. He's just going to put them asleep. So just in case that proves to be healthy, he'll shoot the nerve gas thing too. Right?
Okay,
I can't think of any reason not to.
All right.
Also, prior to going through the teleporter, I'm going to rotate Iso's ring and say "Defendant me" and get shield on me.
Okay, cool.
Which will last for 2 turns.
2 turns. Okay, very good. Just in case, right? All right, shield. Very good. Okay, so all right, so David, you're mapping, right?
Yes, I don't think Ted's got any of this established.
Do you see where I'm?
Where you are? Yeah.
Start right around there. Anywhere you want. Okay. So you always all dematerialize, and you rematerialize in a very small little room. This room is hemispherical, only about 10 feet. 10 feet square, but it's just the little pods like right there, and then there is an iris door directly to the south, like right in front of you.
Okay. So hold on. It's okay. So wow.
So it's a single square.
Ted is good at this. So it's okay. So it's a hemispherical.
So the hemisphere is sort of on the northern side of the square, and then there's an iris door on the southern side of the square, and then there's just a portal right in the middle. Yeah.
Okay. So 10 feet. So
Right now, Ted is just so happy as we realize how difficult his job is.
Okay, so there's a portal in the middle, and then there's an iris door at the top.
So these are 10-foot squares. So it's literally only in one little square.
I see.
The hemisphere part of it, the curved part, is on the northern part of the square.
Okay. I didn't listen to a word John said. I blacked out. Here we go. Yep. Boom.
And on the southern end is an iris door.
All right, now I'm with you.
And then right in the middle of the room is just like a circle. And that's where you're appearing in. Okay.
All right. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Okay, so there's actually a little bit more room here, but it doesn't really matter because it's a little bit larger because there's a little bit more room to move around, but don't sweat it. So when you step out here, you're all kind of crammed in. It looks like this not only was a portal, but also was holding something. It was holding valuable items in here as well.
Oh.
Okay. And it should be noted sort of like what was required to kind of get to this area, and what, access and all that kind of stuff. So you see that there is a set of keys, rods, that look 1 gold and 1 platinum that you are very well aware of now. And there's a pair of them sitting next to each other.
Interesting.
Okay.
Oh, so now wait. If we pick up these, am I correct? We have 4 total.
I don't know how many.
Because we had the original gold one. We picked up another one in recent travels, and with these 2 more, we should have 4.
Yeah, that'd be 2 golds and 2 platinums, I believe.
I
mean, we can count later, but that seems about right.
Yeah, so you got a couple more of those keys. There is a very strange and ugly looking horn. Like looks like it has been sort of shorn off, like from some like a forehead or a brow or something like that. But it's all like nasty and blackish green and really like I'm talking about like a devil's horn, not like a
It's not a Rhodesian horn though.
It is not. No, it's much like larger and thicker, and more sickly looking. Definitely has like an evil vibe to it, right? There is also one of those palms that are sort of has like the rod coming down from it, right? That has like the eye in the center.
Mort has one of those. I think it shoots a light out, right?
But this one looks different, actually. Let's see. What is this one? Yeah. It has like a bluish hue to the eye. Okay. That's in the center. There are 7 structural mines. Okay. There are 6 bottles that actually look to be like prescription bottles that have like pills in them. You never seen anything of like before. But there's
Interesting.
Excuse me. There's 6 of those. Each of them has 20 pills in them. And they're labeled with Rhodesian glyph, and it says pep pills.
Ooh.
All right. Little stems.
There is a full-on, and it's pretty big, right? But it's actually sort of detached, is a full-on like point defense array. Like a big fuck-off gun with like a big shield in front, right? And next to it is actually a portable controller for that point defense array.
Holy shit.
There is a 4-foot by 6-foot seed bank that has seed specimens for over 1,800 species of plants, all alien. And there are, let's see, 2 data crystals that have data on them.
This was all in a little 10-foot cubby?
It's a larger thing. I just didn't want to go into the details, but yeah.
No, you're good. You're good.
Wow. Okay.
Now, for ease sake, John, we have this on the map you provided us already, right? There's sort of a diagonal, hence us knowing how to get there.
Yeah, I'm sort of like, I'm sort of
here?
like putting you in the general area, but oops, I just fucked that up.
I'm just clarifying that one of these hemispherical entries isn't one of the 6 on the translocation hub map.
Well, we went to the cloister.
Oh, you're right. Went to the cloisters. Oh, yeah. Right. Thank you.
It seems like we're in that northeastern corner of the cloister.
Yeah, and yeah, that's where we are. Okay, I'm going to screenshot that so that I can map easier as John tells me more.
Okay, so that seems to be it in here, and there's the Irish door to the south.
John, is this stuff dusty? Has it been here for a while, or does it seem like this is recently placed in here?
Very dusty. Very dusty.
Okay, that's probably good. Anything we want to take?
Well, we have the rug on us. Oh, but it just takes us back to the pyramid now. Shit. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still stash number 0, right?
Yeah, that's true.
How big is that point defense array gun, John? Like, that's not something that you can carry and wield.
No,
I mean, I could probably pick it up because I'm super strong, but
it's like an installation.
Usable.
Yeah, it's like an installation. Okay. Like, yeah.
Oh, when we want to arm our shuttle in case there's dragon fights, this is what we do.
Yeah.
Right? That's what this is for. Okay.
What I wouldn't do for a shrink spell right now.
Well, you got your disc. We could probably put it on there if we need to. But let's keep on exploring, right?
Yeah.
I want to see what
Right,
why don't we open that Iris door?
So you're taking nothing out of the treasury?
Well, I'm gonna take those pep pills.
Okay. They're uncommon.
No. Okay.
You gonna take a bottle?
Is there a page number, John?
Yeah, the pep pills are on page 354.
Look, I think per what we just said, I think it's wise to take all of these, put them in the pyramid, come back, because then we'll always be able to access them via the rug and transfer them more easily back to the captain's quarters later, right? So why don't we go ahead and, does that make sense?
Sure, we can do that if you want.
Push them to the pyramid.
Okay, so you're gonna take a turn to do transfers.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That puts you squarely at 9 a.m.
Cool. And then do we want to take the rods with us now, Matt, or leave them in the pyramid?
Let's see. I mean, we can take, you know what? Elizabeth has space to carry. Yeah, we can take them. They're a slot each, right?
The rods, yes.
The rods?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm going to take, is it one structural mine per slot, John?
Yes. Yep.
I'm going to take 3 structural mines.
Okay, cool. Mock them down.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I've been remiss. We're actually past our second break point. So why don't we do that real quick and we will be right back.
Cool.
Okay, we're back. Bladders empty, beers full. Okay, so I've given David the exact dimensions of that room now. We're also, full transparency, as you guys know from the top of the episode, we've got a map of this general area. But just for the completeness' sake and to make sure that they're not missing any perhaps secret rooms that aren't on that map, we're just mapping it out like normal. And plus, David needs a little bit of practice, right?
Yeah, I got to learn Miro.
Yeah. Okay, so obviously it's a very weird room. It looks like, based upon like the very strange and obviously valuable items that were in here, that this was considered to be a very, very secure room by the Rudishva, one way or the other, right? Maybe even by very certain Rudishva, right? So, and you've got a mixture of things here too, right? These rods, which you still don't know, like their origin, a bunch of obviously Rudishva things, but then there's also this weird horn. Are you taking the horn with you, by the way?
I'll take the horn, sure.
You're not going to drop it in the stash. You're just going to you're going to keep it on your person. Just asking, so I know where it is.
Well, you ask a question like John, and then I have to take it with me.
Okay.
So yeah, how about this? So I stay at 120 personally. I'll only take 1 structural mine. I'll take the horn, and I'll take that weird hand thing.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I would note the horn as like evil horn or off-putting horn or something like that. Yeah.
Evil horn.
You pick it up with your right hand.
And yeah, there you go. And then the palm rod. That's what I'll call the other one. Okay.
Cool.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's good to keep with us. Are you carrying that with you?
I have the palm rod, I have the evil horn, and I have 1 structural mine on my person. Yeah.
Yeah. So each of those. So similar to the other. Who has the other palm rod?
Mort.
Morton. Okay, so like it's same sort of function. So even though it looks a little bit different with the color, there's like a thumbable stud on the handle that basically you can activate it with. Right now, he did it. He pointed it at like a wall or something like that, and the light came out, and nothing happened when it hit the wall. So just be aware of that.
Can I test it real quick, just to do the same against the wall?
Against the wall, sure.
I'm wondering if it's like a black light thing or if it's a projector or what. I don't know.
It's a remote control.
Just a remote control.
A pale blue beam shoots out of it. Okay, and in the wake of that blue beam, there's a huge gust, like a really strong gust of wind that whips up all of the loose treasure and debris and dust. Actually, because it's so dusty, you'd all probably have kind of fall into a coughing fit, you know what I mean, as it whips it all up. But it's an extremely strong gust of wind. You may even see its reminiscence of the spell gust of wind, perhaps.
Yeah, well, and therein lies. I will have that ready. I might have that equipped, in fact.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, looking at the map before we go farther to that next door, Wulfheard sees the little symbol that shows that there is a statue or construct or something right around the right around the corner. So he's feeling a little cautious. He's going to ask Lisbeth before we open the door to take out Yakin's bones preemptively, just in case that thing comes to life. And when we are ready to open that door, you know what? Why not? He's going to pop one of those pep pills.
Ooh.
And just see what happens.
Okay, so when you pop the pep pill, the moment it sort of like hits your digestive tract, you find yourself like ready to go, and you are actually under the biological effects of the biological equivalent of a haste spell.
Oh, nice!
Yeah.
So I don't know what that means in old school play. What is it? Just movement? Is it an attack? I don't know.
It's all awesome.
Well, your attacks per round. I have it. I'll read it real quick because I have it noted on my spell list. Okay. Maximum move rate is doubled. Subjects may take double the normal number of attacks per round. However, spells are not doubled. And magical device use is also not doubled. So
double attacks, double movement.
Yep.
Okay. So you pop that in, and you're feeling pretty fucking invincible.
Wow, we have 60.
I think we should go. I think we should go now.
Yeah, we have 60 uses of that, by the way. That's crazy. Yeah. Cool. I'm gonna have the wand of lightning and the palm rod, double fisted, pointed at the Iris door.
Right on. You look every inch the necromancer, but
yeah.
Except you're wearing that that Rudishva jumpsuit. Okay, and who's opening the door? Remember, you have retainers.
Yeah, Barrios will open the door.
Barrios opens the door.
Why don't we give a listen? Well, let's open it. Okay, Barrios, we got it.
Okay, Barrios opens the door. Well, you do actually need it's an Iris door, I should say. So it would have to be Upior actually who has the yellow plaque.
I'll scan it. That's fine.
Yeah. So you open it up. Now you see when you open it up that strangely different than the other Iris doors you had, which were sort of a single sheet, that of multiple plates of metal that sort of opened in an Iris fashion, right? This one has, if you kind of look at my hands, it had like 2 plates, right? So there was like an inner Iris door, which sort of opened initially, and then like quickly in succession right afterwards, there was a much larger, like a much more thick door behind that one that also opened up slower. Okay, just so you're aware. So it's like shink shink, as you and you're able to walk through. Just so it's very different.
We're in a vault. Yeah.
Yeah. Extra layer of security of some sort. Okay. You walk in and you find yourself in a Rudishva room, so no sharp corners. It is 20 feet east to west by 30 feet north to south. You are entering in from the middle of the northern wall. There is an Iris door in the middle of the western wall as well. The let's see. There are okay, so I'm sorry. Inside there are racks for equipment made of both plasteel and sort of Baroque iron, like the ironwork is sort of Baroque in nature, occupy one side of the room. There are 3 very large coffers, about 5 feet cubes, line the other wall. There is a 4-foot tall frieze along the walls at eye level all around. It's carved with elaborately sinuous images of spindly figures, which are obviously Rudishva, being brought tribute by a variety of creatures, including some that look like trolls, some that look like bipedal birds, and some that look like snakes with legs. That's what's written in the module. You guys have obviously discovered at this point that those are Varamani, Varuda, and Kalyani, all servitor races to the Rudishva. Okay. However, there appears to be a bunch of shit in here as well. So it looks, so you of course would not recognize these things as for what they are, but I'm just going to kind of tell you. One looks to be a laser rifle that is lying on the ground. However, it has numerous frayed wires protruding from a split casing. In addition, there appears to be a much smaller firearm, a pistol, looks normal and just sort of lying on the ground. Has a sight on the top, racked on the top of it. There is a spear, strangely enough, that looks completely out of place with the high tech in the room. That is made because it's made entirely of wood, including the tip. All right. There are 10 bars of solid silver and 10 bars of steel. Huge, big, probably weighing about 25 pounds each. They look like big ingots, like big shaped ingots. There are, let's see, looks like a couple of lesser power supplies which have been completely crushed. Oh crap, I lost my place. There it is. And yeah, now that's what you kind of see obviously on the ground. The iron circlet of Gonor pings in numerous ways in this room. Okay. First of all, it pings off of that wooden spear. All right. It also indicates two interesting secrets. One is the fact that hold on. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Wait a sec. Where? I keep losing my spot. I'm sorry.
Well, they keep moving it.
Okay, one is a secret door. On the southern wall, there's a secret door. Okay. The other, strangely enough, is that in the northeastern corner of the room, it detects something invisible.
Oh.
Which is a 6-foot tall gold statue of a human in archaic imperial field plate armor. Very, very realistic, but the whole thing is completely invisible.
Ah.
Oh my God, what's that?
Elizabeth has that dispel magic spell locked and loaded. If there's some kind of invisibility spell cast on this thing, that might. What do you think, Upior?
It's not a bad idea. Before we cast something that's potentially going to wake it, though, John, is there any sense of abnormal movement or anything with the statue that makes it seem like a golem, for instance? Or is it totally rigid?
It's totally rigid.
To our present, yeah.
But the way that you're seeing it, like as if it was visible, it looks like yeah, it's of impressive beauty and an impressive sculpt. Like it's extremely realistic. It's also kind of weird that it's an Arcantian that's depicted here. But you've never seen like a completely gold statue before. The sheer value of it is staggering. Like how much it would actually be valued at.
Yeah, it may just be invisible because they're trying to keep a treasured thing
to hide it. Yeah,
hidden. Yeah. Well, we can bring it to the pyramid stash.
Well, before we cast anything on it, I can go touch it and see what happens. Why don't we sure. at the ready, right? Very carefully, he's going to shield up. He's going to walk up to it,
yeah,
and just like poke it with the butt end of his spear to see if.
Okay.
See if anything happens.
You can't see it, but you definitely hit like where Upior was indicating, like you hit metal. It like feels like metal.
Okay.
No response.
Right.
No response. No.
Do we want to try to? I can come over and assist and just see if it's movable. If it slides on the ground, if we push it.
So when attempting to move it, it's gold. It's extremely heavy. Yeah. You would gather that it's probably about 600 pounds.
Wulfheard has that belt. Yeah.
Yeah. How's that work with the belt?
With the belt, I think you could like, you can't lift it like over your head, I don't think, but I think you could probably like wiggle it. You could sort of like walk it across the room. You know what I
mean?
Yeah. How much does your disc hold?
You would have to be able to get it upon the disc is the thing.
Oh, and the disc is like 3 feet up off the ground or something?
I mean, but for what it's worth, so it holds up to 500 pounds. I do think we could literally, again, put the rug on the ground, wiggle it on top of the rug, take it to the pyramid stash, spend a turn doing that just to secure it.
I mean, I think I have to lift it up just for a second when I say the command word, but we could still do it. I mean, do we want to try to dispel the invisibility first?
If you want, I just don't know if there's any immediate need to, unless we think that will unlock some other secret, right? Unless we think that invisibility changes something else. But I assume the true seeing would basically indicate that to us, right? I mean,
John,
can I just get a good look at and see if anywhere on the statue, aside from the fact that it's solid gold, there is a crease or an indention or anything that looks like it might be pressable or rotatable or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera?
No, there's not.
Okay.
I would say assessing the treasure and doing that additional detail on that. There's going to be a total of 2 turns. Now, after that first turn ends, okay, your shield on your ring goes away. Okay. Yeah. After that second turn ends, actually after the first turn ends as well, Wulfheard, you just feel like exhausted now. Like after your heart was racing, to move quickly and all that kind of stuff, and you were kind of trucking around the room looking at all that stuff excitedly. You're like, oh man, that really has a kickback after a while, and you're extremely lethargic. So you are now down. You are at quarter of your speed.
Ooh. Don't do drugs, kids.
It's good to know the parameters of this.
Yeah. How's Wulfheard's anxiety right now? You feeling a little bad about life?
A little paranoid. Why are you asking?
Yeah.
Who told you to ask me that?
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Well, if you want to dispel the invisibility, I have no problem with that. I mean, if that's something you're curious about. Otherwise,
I am a little bit now. I want to make sure that spell doesn't do more than want to do. I haven't had the best luck with her casting it, so I want to make sure it doesn't do any other things. It's 4th level, right? Dispel magic ends spells of non-instantaneous duration within a 20-foot cube area.
Mm-hmm.
So if the level of the caster of the effect to be dispelled is higher than the level of the caster, there's a 5% chance that it might not do anything.
So roll me a D100 and tell me what you get.
Okay. I've got that here. I did have it here. Here we go. Okay. That's a 46.
A 46. Okay, so you cast so she cast dispel magic, and the statue glimmers into existence.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, there's you have a continual light. The room is dark, by the way, so you're using your continual light.
Yeah, we have our lockets.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get this and those other things that were visible into the stash, right? Or at least the old stash. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, he'll kind of walk the statue on to the rug, and he'll lift it up just long enough to say the command word, and then he'll set it back down on the other side.
Okay, cool. All right. So we'll roll that in at the same time. So get this. This is pretty cool for you guys. You've returned that statue, which is treasure, back to a safe haven. It is worth, as it is worth 40,000 gold.
Oh my god,
40,000.
That's a lot of XP just for these 2 players, baby.
It's a lot. Yes. If you melt it down and into just its ore, right? Like if you wanted to kind of make it more portable, it would reduce it down to 30,000 gold, which is still very, very impressive. But it would be much more of like your ability to port it somewhere would be much more. So the extra 10,000 is just for the beautiful make of the thing itself, right?
Oh, man, that's something. That's something.
That's amazing.
And we never tried the coffers.
Oh, yeah, that
Right,
was my
like, John,
mistake
this-
actually. So I just misread. The items that you found were inside those coffers. So
Okay,
you
so,
probably
yeah,
would have been
well,
cautious
I would have
about opening.
carefully done that with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but yeah.
Do you want to take? Do you want to take that pistol? I mean,
Lisbeth would definitely take that wooden spear. That sounds very druidy to me.
mhm.
Is there
so-
anything written on that spear, or if she takes a look at it closely?
So it looks like purely decorative. I may have misspoke if I said it looked like rudimentary. It's just it doesn't look like it's an effective weapon in any way, shape, or form, right? But when she kind of grasps it, she can tell you like she can feel power in the thing, confirmed by the iron circlet,
Okay. And
But no words written on it. If she looked carefully, nothing hidden, no hidden.
No. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. But yeah, she likes it a lot. She thinks it's pretty freaking cool.
Okay.
the pistol, John. Would I need like Akla-Chah to explain how to use a pistol to me? Or would there be like writing or anything that would be intuitive about it that Matt's translation ability would be able to discern? Or
Not
Like
really.
is the trigger labored pull?
yeah,
Yeah.
pull
Yeah,
here.
I mean, I would think like realistically, like if you looked at the pistol, so this pistol is actually kind of interesting. They, it's actually the first time you've actually kind of got a good look at these things. So, it has a scissors like grip. Okay, so you would probably be able to determine just like how does this thing kill people, right? Like you can obviously see where you would kind of have your hand inserted, right? And it looks like you're meant to sort of squeeze it like a grip strengthener, and that actually causes it to fire.
Is there any sort of light up display or anything that might indicate ammunitions?
There isn't, but you do see that underneath the barrel there is an obvious open cavity where something's supposed to be inserted and is not there.
Okay, that's good to know. So
Okay.
When I would actually say this too, because you've had numerous experiences with sort of looking at these things, is that when you look over at the pile of broken lesser power supplies, it's fairly obvious that one of those, should it be actually whole, would fit into that. That seems to be like the universal sort of like battery for like small portable objects. Like a lesser power supply also powers the new coder sort of thing, right? Yeah.
Okay.
all right.
All right.
Well, why don't we? I'd like to go up to the secret door
Of course. That's what I was gonna say. Like you have to go to the secret door, right?
and look around all on the wall again. Same old procedure for any sort of indentions or indications of an opening mechanism.
Okay.
Before we
Yeah, go ahead.
go ahead. I'm sorry. No. Go ahead.
So you know that there are 4 feet at 4 foot height all the way around the walls is this sort of frieze, right? Indicating like these like Radishva being supplicated to, right? It's you're not really. It's kind of tough. You don't really see anything that's kind of obvious that would be a secret door, except for the fact that there's these freezes here.
Yeah. So why don't I go to the freeze? Wulfheard, do you want to help me? And we can look.
Wolford's gonna like sit and take a nap for a minute, but Lisbeth will go around and take a look.
Yeah, Elizabeth, Barrios,
like
and I
poke
will
the
kind of-
eyes and like all the little details that we've seen some of that, like maybe the arms that move things, like giving something, or the mouth, all those little details where you can hide a little.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll say that it because there's a lot to interact with, it's going to take another turn to really carefully check it out. But you do indeed, near where you spotted where it's pinging that there's a secret door, you can manipulate one of the Radishva figures. Actually, sort of turns in the freeze, and it actually causes this door to open. So I believe this is actually not on the Veruda map, right?
It isn't.
It's not. Yeah, I looked.
Good shit.
All right.
Okay, so it does, and a panel sort of shifts aside and opens up into a chamber beyond. Your light easily illuminates it, and this one is actually a true hemisphere 10-foot teleport node, but it's completely hidden.
Okay.
This is the first one of those we've seen that's been hidden.
It's sort of, I'm assuming it kind of bisects the grid, sort of like the northerly one did. So just sort of like
bisects,
this.
yeah, just draw it. Yep, exactly. You got it. And there's a circle right in the middle. Okay. Now, this should trigger something from what Akla-Chah told you.
Yes.
Right, children?
Oh man, my brain. Apologies to all of the listeners as my brain has withered further and further over the course of time.
A lot to maintain. She had told you when you had asked about like how do we get to the engine room. She's like, there is a secret teleport node.
There you go.
In the cloister.
And that's it.
Right. Now, this is fairly obviously like a secret teleport node. But interesting to note, though, is the fact that both the teleport nodes here are very strange in the way that you can access them. In fact, when you sort of like look over your shoulder back the way that you came, you see that there is that much thicker door, right? That is shut now, right? That leads back the way that you came.
Does it seem like any sort of blast door or containment, like a pressurized thing, or is it just a big door?
It looks like it, you could interpret it that way, but it I think Matt kind of had it right, where it's like it seems like an extra measure of security, like a vault door. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
John, is there? We haven't asked this. Is there a pad or like a card slot on this side of that iris door?
That's the right question. No, there is not.
See, okay, we're screwed. Okay, but we got this. You know, we got the engine room.
Right. So, and in fact,
through,
too, there is actually like there is a plaque inside the room that actually is labeled as engine room.
Yes.
You're like, oh,
we gotta go. We gotta go right now. Hurry! It's getting late.
Well, Matt, shall we just go for it? Ride the lightning.
Well, you haven't even entered the cloister itself, which is obviously to the west.
I know, yeah. But
we got it. We got to see this engine room, though. We got to see it.
I step into the circle.
Wait! Before you do it, we should wait until Wulfheard's not exhausted anymore, just in case there's trouble immediately on that other side. Just like take a minute, take a breath, let the old man nap.
Do we have any sense of? Sorry.
Go ahead.
Do we have any sense of like him, like could we triangulate how long it would take, or just we'll wait and just tell us, John?
It's impossible. Yeah, I mean, like you're fucking beat, man. You know, it doesn't affect your attacks or anything like that. It doesn't affect any rolls except that your movement itself is only a quarter of the speed in any sort of iteration of movement.
Now you know what you could do, Matt. You got 19 more of those pills.
That's right, baby.
Oh my God.
All right. Okay. So we'll push on. If there's trouble, I'm popping another pill, man. I'm popping another one.
Okay.
Before we go through, I have 3 uses of the ISO's shield. I'm gonna pop shield on again.
Pop shield on again. Okay.
Just remember those Raja Natarajas are mean.
Yeah,
they are very mean.
Yeah, I'm not going to try to engage. I have a tendency to walk through doors and be immediately hit. So
now let's let Wolf and Barrios, the half-faced brothers, face danger together.
Is there any value? Maybe we're getting excessively paranoid. I did memorize floating disc. I do have the deer skin boots. That does make me like a portable carrier for another person behind me to levitate with. It is something that we could, like Lisbeth could sit on the disc and I could float if we go through and need to get elevation, for instance. I don't know. Something to think about.
Okay. Well, let's
just pop through and see.
Okay.
Let's get in there and see what we need to do. Yeah, she'll have the bones out. Yeah.
Put the palm onto the plaque and you dematerialize and reappear in what you praying to God is the engine room. Obviously, you know how this sort of works. It rarely leads you like directly into the room proper. So you don't suddenly aren't approach. You don't open your eyes and suddenly see the engine room. Right? So, sure. David, let's you see my thing? Let's do it right around here.
Up a little bit. Okay.
Up there. Okay. Cool.
Actually, do it like right around here.
Hold on. Right there. Okay. I'll start right there.
Cool. And we're talking about a 10-foot hemisphere room again with the circle in the middle, except this time the hemisphere part, the curve is actually on the eastern side. Okay.
And
so the opening is to the west?
Yes. Is it bisecting the grid or contained within a grid?
It is contained within a grid.
Okay. So like that.
But there is a 5 foot wide, so half a square width, a corridor that actually goes both to the north and the south, leading from the western end of that thing. Okay. Both go for only 10 feet, in either direction before they hit iris doors on either end. You got it. Well done. Okay, and obviously there is a plaque right here, and it says the word cloister.
Is there any indication of battle scarring, damage, odd sort of environmental aspects to this hallway?
No,
That's
good
really
question.
noticeable.
Everything seems nice and clean and plasteel.
All right. Do I feel like my brain's being radiated by a microwave the minute we walk in here?
No.
Surprise!
That was a hesitation.
No, but
It's just this flight suit I have sort of a hazmat mask that I can just remove. Okay.
So
Well.
no immediate danger that you can sense.
Mhm.
Obviously, the floor is rather dusty.
Do any
No light.
lights blink on when we come in, or is
No
it just our
lights. It's
continual light?
only your continual light. Yeah.
Okay. You want to do north first, Matt?
Why don't you listen at the north and I'll listen at the south?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay. To the south. Who's at the south?
Wulfheard went to the south and he
Okay.
rolled a 6 when he pressed his ear to the door.
All right, Wulfheard, you don't hear anything.
I rolled a 3.
Okay, Upior, despite you not succeeding at the roll, the noise is so loud on the other side of the room that you can detect it. And the noise is not the sound of engines running or anything like that. But what you do hear is the sounds of cries of pain and consternation, and the sounds of steel striking steel, and the sounds of explosions, the sounds of sounds of explosions, sounds of of sorcery, of arcane sorcery going off, strange sounds that you've never heard before, cursing, both male and female.
I'm going to pop that clairvoyance and look on the other side of that door.
There you go.
Okay. Now you see the engine room in the state that it is currently. The last time you saw it currently was the holographic projection, right? Which gave you the tip off that there was a Nataraja waiting there. Now you're seeing that there is the large engine room, like what you've seen before, right beyond the doors, and your eyes kind of go wide. Upior, I guess they're probably rolled back because you're doing clairvoyance, but whatever. Like you Wulfheard, you can see his jaw sort of drop a little bit open as you see a huge battle taking place right now in the room. The Nataraja is dancing around, throwing fire pots, swinging with its scimitar, banging on its drum. At the same time that let me get this right because it's pretty crazy.
Is it the 5 fingers of imminent death?
Yes. Yes,
no!
it is.
I knew it was going to be. I knew those fuckers were going to show up when we got here.
The 5 fingers of destiny are in the room.
Yeah.
And Roger is there as well. His spellcasters are slinging spells, as is Roger himself. He's slinging them both at the Nataraja and a strange automaton. It looks like a spider-like creature with 8 legs and a 4-foot diameter central body. And it has like a head that looks like almost like a hat box, like a short, squat cylinder. And 4 arms that are equipped with weapons. Like one looks to be like a laser pistol. One is like a spinning, cutting blade. One's like a flamethrower, just like you see like flame going everywhere. But interestingly enough, what you're hearing, what you're seeing, and then what you're hearing just with your normal hearing on the other side of the door is you're hearing that weird automaton actually belt out reprimands and curses at both the Nataraja and the 5 fingers as well, and the voice is none other than Kerbal Khan.
Yeah, fucking. Yeah.
And so there appears to be a 3-way battle going on between the 5 fingers of destiny, this automaton of Kerbal Khan, and this Nataraja. And even though the 5 fingers are obviously outnumbering the other 2, those other 2 have multiple ways of attacking, and they look like they are not doing too great. Like it's like a pitted battle, right? And they're sort of dancing all around the chamber, right? So they're not in the engine well, but they're around that sort of gangway around it.
John, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I did press the button to flood the active pods with nerve gas.
You did?
Would that?
He did.
I
yeah.
did.
I thought you
Would
just.
that have?
He did it.
Nope. I did the nerve gas, and I did the not automatons. I didn't call them that. The security guys, whatever they were called.
He disabled the security guys and he engaged the nerve gas.
Oh, I only heard
Prior to
disable the. Okay, well that changes things. Okay, so
Now those guys are dead. I killed those guys.
I'm going to think about it, but it's also the end of the session. So why don't we leave it there, and I will adjust descriptions whenever we pick up next time.
Sure, you don't want me to open the Iron store and throw that mine in there and then end the session?
Well, okay, I guess so we can't plan unless like you have an idea of what's actually going on there. So yeah, I guess if you did the nerve gas, then all of the 5 fingers would be lying down.
Roger the sleepy.
But it took you. When did you do that? You did that like
Right when, before we left.
Right
we
when
have,
we
we'll
left.
have
It was
to
the
go back
last
and
thing
count
Matt said
turns.
because
Like
he
an
said,
hour ago or so?
before I forget, and said so. Yeah.
yeah. So well, shit. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to think about it. I'm gonna have to think about it.
Yeah,
Puts a
it's
wrench in my
okay.
plans.
Yeah. We can plan all the all the ways.
Yeah. Okay. So that'll do it for this episode. I apologize again for my sickness. It's kind of clouded my brain a little bit, and which also caused me to not unmute myself. So apologies for that. But it is what it is. Sometimes you're not at 100%.
We're really grateful that you decided to go ahead and play, John. This was really fun.
I appreciate you running. This is a blast.
We'll see how it backfires on me later in the week. All right. So thank you everyone for watching and or listening to 3D6 Down the Line, the most criminally underwatched actual play series on the internet. Please don't forget to do your duty. You got to like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to get notifications every time we publish new material, and spread the word, please. If you got a little couple of extra bucks, hook us up with a Patreon subscription. It goes a long way for us. We really do appreciate it. And thank you as always to all of our supporters, our explorers, our delvers, and especially our conquerors. And David has the distinct pleasure of reading those names tonight. Take it away, David.
Hey guys. We have a new conqueror, Yesterday's Glory. Welcome. Thanks for joining the community. The rest of you scallywags, Alan Barton, Alexander Bowes, Eric Tsunami MD, Samuel All Hail Goblin Squagulat Dillon, Gregory Disselhorse, Mike Small, DMW 71, Richard Barton, James Boyle, Steve BKK, Doc Jones 73, Jackson Bates, Grackle, John Hooker, Kayla Ripley Wolf, Zachary Hall, Saps, Papa Bear DM, Zach Shiflett, Mercy for AV 605, Ruben Collar, Derge, Procyon, formerly Andrew, Dakota Nielsen, Cam, Stephen Casenberry, Brad Naden, John and La Logan, the Kabrowskis, Magic Meat Machine, Tom Leary, Phil, Nick, Terry Barney, Eric Lawson, Mando NZ, Faisal, Ted Gass, James Doig, Nefarious Gamer, Eric Lawson, Grunt, Andrew Schroeker, a Radishfa, oh my God, a Radishfa's Radishfa. You think by now. Michael Schilling, Stefano Diamolo, Ash Gabriel, the Hex Brawler twin. Is that a person?
I mentioned that last week. I'm like, I don't know who that is. But.
It might be you don't know.
And then also the Hex
the.
Brawler twins, Iona, Hand Handler, Summon Toast, Too Rude to Ishva, Dragonheart Adams, Scott Yearsley, Mech Jack, Kick Maniac, Dire Grew, Tom Eric Garrettson, Matthew Mattis, and the shameful Matts. Matt Walsh, Matt Mason, Matt Gardner, Matt Aloney, Matt Koenig, and Matt Young. Thank you guys.
The ranks grow.
It means the world to us as always. We appreciate you.
It really does. Thank you as always. We really appreciate it. Everyone have a great week, and we will see you next time. Take care, everybody.
See you later.
John.
Feel better, John.
Feel better, John.